CREWCast. 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 Give it up for the CREWCast!
Awesome. So just spent about 15 minutes setting the table up because today, girls and guys and any animals that are listening, it is just me. There's no Lulu today because it's Monday and I am talking to you guys fresh. And I mean fresh out of the cold water whiskey barrel, which I've been jumping in for the past, what we're on now, 10 days, 11 days, something like that. It doesn't get any easier, but it does definitely, well, no, it does. It does get easier in the fact that once I'm in it, it's like the pain and the cold that you get becomes familiar. So that's weird, but it's also kind of cool. And but we'll get back to that in a minute because there is a pressing topic that we do need to get into. You can see, obviously, Lou's not here. His microphone is in his chair, in his place, just happily sat there. Lou will be back next week. The only reason we didn't, he's not here this week is because this weekend was the celebration of his partner Emma's birthday. So we went out, we did an escape room, which was really cool, and went for a lovely meal. And yeah, so that's, I'm just going to move this mic. Noises. So that's why it's just me, because basically we couldn't kind of fathom it. And then why didn't we just do the days afterwards? Oh, I don't know. But busy. Oh, well, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. It just didn't work out. Anyway, so I'm here. I'm enough for you because we've got one thing to discuss today. You know what it is. You're probably fed up of hearing about it, but we've got to cover it. We got to do it. And that is the Liver King admitting that he is on the juicy juice, that he is up to the gills in the testosterone. Like we're shocked. Yeah. Why is everybody like, is it more the fact that we're happy he got busted? Is this a thing? Are we reveling in someone else's kind of comeuppance? Or did some dummies actually think this dude was natural? It's a tough one. I think there were a lot of young kids that maybe, you know, when you were young and you looked at bodybuilders and you were like, yo, yeah, no, you can definitely do that. Just, you know, hard training and dedication. And then you realize, oh no, there is hard training and lots of dedication, but you need the edge. But I think most people knew, and I think it's the way in which it's come out, isn't it? So if you don't know who the Liver King is, the Liver King is a dude who basically, he has the 9 tenets of these things he's supposed to follow in life, and he lives like a caveman, although he lives on a multi-million-pound ranch. So I'm not sure how many cavemen did that. He does a lot of functional movements. He trains twice a day, but he does advocate some really good stuff. So that's the positives of the man. He advocates getting outside, getting your feet on the earth, getting the sun on your skin, doing cold water plunges, putting yourself in discomfort to get mentally tougher. Advocates working out like twice a day if you can, but at least once a day, getting active. So there's a lot of things that he does advocate that are good. Things that don't like, he literally kind of lives like a caveman. Doesn't brush his teeth, doesn't wash using soap, doesn't do any of that kind of stuff, which is weird. Like, why would you not? Like, caveman didn't live probably past 30. That is a reason that they didn't live past 30. You know? Disease. Inability to eat because they've got no teeth left. And the fact they were probably mauled by animals or starved or the cold got them or it was January, you know? So there's a level, isn't there? I mean, you have to adapt. I like the fact that he took what is essentially our raw capabilities and he is playing on that. Like, what are we capable of physically and mentally? Like, what are we designed to do? How are we designed to be? And that kind of idea, that whole aspect of living is a really good thing to kind of get your head into because we do sit inside too much. We don't connect with the earth enough. This is very true. And getting off social media, he literally shuts the power down in his home, like turns off everything. So he also advocates shielding. So shielding yourself from Wi-Fi signals and all of these things. So his house is kitted out with shielded, fully unpenetrable bedroom walls. He also sleeps on like a hard wooden bed. Doesn't have like a soft mattress and stuff like that. So there's a lot you could take from the man. A lot like Goggins does. You know, Goggins is very extreme, and you can sometimes he's a bit much, but you'll take bits and babs that really like fit what you need in that moment. I think that's good. Problem with Liver King. Here's the problems. He set out, it turns out, he set out with a full media team because he was already minted before you saw him on YouTube. He set out to be a viral sensation. So this Liver King character is exactly that. Like, this guy is playing a role, which then takes away from all of the things he's saying about living. Like, I do think he lives a lot of the life he says, but it's a role that he's embodied. He talks about himself in third person because he's playing a character. Like The Rock, you know, in wrestling, was playing a character. This is what this guy's doing, but in real life. And I think that's a little bit... He openly admits that he has self-worth issues. Like, he's never felt like he's enough. And that's part and parcel of his upbringing. That if you listen to his backstory, you can see where he's got that from. So by creating this, like, this third person character, he's able to kind of separate from his own anxieties and stuff and put it into this creation. And I think he's lived a bit too deep into it because he started to become very cartoonish. Like, he was... When he first started, he was extreme, but now he's turning a bit more cartoony. He's got these stupid sayings, and he's all this more and sub-primal, and he literally says it like that. And you're like, who are you appealing to? Like 14, 15-year-olds or whatever? So there's definitely been, he's got more into the role as it's carried on. What's come out as, you can watch this as a full episode. If you search More Plates, More Dates, there's a guy on there called Derek, who I'm sure most of you know who are in these circles. There's a really great video. It is an hour long, but it is a great video that breaks down the start to the culmination of where we are now with the Liver King. And basically it shows you he had this premeditated plan to not only become a viral sensation using a media company, and he plowed a lot of money into getting himself seen. He also had a plan to manipulate his body chemistry through the use of growth hormone, steroids, peptides, whatever it was going to take. But he was already on all of the juicy juice prior to any of this plan as well. So he was not only like already on it to the gills, like he was willing to do more. He was like, he basically says in one of these emails that he needs to stay in shape all year round, relentless, and only with maybe 2 months off. And by 2 months off, he doesn't mean off training, he means off substances in a culmination. So 10 months of on and 2 months off was his goal. But I'm telling you now, if he was told you got to do 12 months on, he would have done 12 months on, which I probably think is where I don't think he's ever off anything. But what's more shocking is not the fact of, the guy's on stuff. It's the amount he was taking. He's going through $11,000 worth of growth hormone alone in a single month. Single month. At the same time advocating that it's all because of his liver and his bone marrow supplements and being primal and sunning his balls and butthole. Yeah, he actually did do that, which is absolutely scientifically not proven to have any benefit whatsoever. So... These emails got leaked. If you go on the More Plates, More Dates YouTube page, you'll see the whole video on there. And it's basically a breakdown of him talking to this bodybuilding coach about what to use, how much to use, and how to go about it to manipulate his body to get even bigger and better, to proliferate his viral ability online. So this is where the problem becomes, because we know he came on there to sell supplements. Now he claims after this, like, how much did his viral ability affect his businesses? And he claims, very little. That's just absolute, which again, he's lying. So he's lied, and now he's also lying. He's trying to do smaller lies now to undermine the fact he was on the steroids. Because we know full well that, the power of social media in terms of turnover for businesses is huge. So to say his businesses haven't been boosted by the viralness that he achieved is, again, a lie. So this guy is hoping that you're paying so much attention to the big lie that you won't notice these little ones. So again, he's discrediting himself every time that he does this. And so you want to kind of... You want to see the good in bad situations. So like I said, a lot of the things he advocates, the base level of what he's saying is kind of good, but it's the way he's gone about it is bad, because he has, under false pretenses, got people following him. And he's also got young people following him who are very easy to manipulate. So he's had these people buying his supplements. He's had these people living this lifestyle. I guarantee you some people stopped washing and brushing their teeth to manipulate it, to emulate this guy. And it turns out he lie. You big liar. Big, hairy, smelly liar. So where does he go from here? Who knows? Who knows? Let's see. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be an interesting experiment to see happen in real time, because he was an experiment going viral, which he was very successful with. Now, as quick as he's risen, there's this crashing halt. Now, watch, my theory is going to be this, right? His PR team are going to have him go on more podcasts, more shows, because he's still viral now in a negative way, but people who are on shows don't care about that. They're the host. They're not getting any crap from it. All they're getting is views. So he's going to get on more things to retell his I'm sorry story, over and over, which he has released a video of. You can go watch that if you want to. It's almost theatrical, though, which again undermines his apology. He should have just been human about it and been like, I had a goal, I wanted to achieve something, and I was willing to do anything to get there, and I lied. That would be more credible. You'd have been like, and then he could have said, but I live this lifestyle. If you didn't know, he eats like raw liver a lot in many different forms and advocates hunting for your own food and all that kind of stuff, which, is a nice sustainable lifestyle. But he does some other crazy things as well, like drinks blood from live animals, and just some stuff's unnecessary. But the basis of things that he does, the liver, the raw liver, liver is great for you. That is a good thing. But then he, where am I going? What have I gone? He's Liver King me. He's Liver King my brain out. I've gone rogue. The brain has tangented. I accidentally just looked past the camera at my wooden gorilla, and now my brain just went, just started thinking about gorillas. Jesus, Lex. Right. So yes, he eats a lot of raw foods. A lot. And he has a chef that goes around with him everywhere that does all this as well. So even this lifestyle that he lives is unsustainable for the normal person anyway. So I don't know why we're so mad when he comes out and now he's on steroids, which is unsustainable for somebody not, so his physique is not sustainable for somebody not on steroids. Like, his whole thing is not sustainable. He lives on a multi-million-pound compound, like a secluded ranch. He's a multi-millionaire prior to coming on and being on social media. So he has no limitations on how to live this life. So the normal average person who's going to go to work every day can't go to work not washing or brushing their hair or cleaning their teeth and sitting at the lunch table in front of everybody else just whacking out raw liver and testicles. That's just not a feasible lifestyle, is it? Come on. But what's going to be interesting now is going to see is like how I think this... words, Lex. Here we go. So I think he's going to go on all these podcasts. I think he's going to tell the story over and over again. But what he's going to do is he's going to start talking about his use of the hormones. He's going to start then being an advocate of how he was so down and everything was messed up. And then he started doing TRT levels of testosterone, which he isn't doing huge amounts of testosterone. I think he's doing 120 milligrams of testosterone a week, but with DECA. So that's not TRT levels. So he's kind of going definitely into building levels of testosterone use. Not by any means bodybuilder use, but he's definitely over TRT, but not into bodybuilding exactly. He's on 10 IUs of growth hormone a day, which, if you don't know, therapeutic use of growth hormone for kind of anti-aging and longevity is 1 to 2 IUs. So he's over 5 times the maximum dose of longevity use. So again, that's just excessive. He was on 6 or 7 peptides. He also dabbled in Winstrol, Anavar, and other hormones. So, the dude's extreme. It's definitely not healthy. I'd love to see his blood work, because he's probably balanced his blood work a bit better, but his blood work prior to going on with a professional who was doing his bloods all the time, his blood was definitely messed up, because I think in the leak you can see some of his blood results, and his IGF levels and other things are well out of whack. But it's like, what's he doing to his insides? Because if you think as well, he's only eating all of this. He basically has a carnivore diet. He basically eats carnivore, which is, here's the thing with carnivore diets. It works with people when they do it short term because it's basically an elimination diet. So it's removing a lot of the problems that people have in terms of gluten, wheat, and sugar. But if you were to stick on a carnivore diet and not add in fruits and veg, like he doesn't, he has carbs like every so often, but you're talking like twice a week or something silly. The diet itself is actually quite micronutriently deficient. You got to think about your gut health. So if you're only you're eating red meat, and that can stay in your system. Let me get this right. It can raw red meat over time because he's consuming. Bear in mind, he's consuming pounds of meat a day. We're not talking like he's having like a chicken breast level of red meat. He's eating bowls of raw minced meat, liver, kidneys, testicles. And on top of that, he's got all the bone marrow and everything going through. His gut bacteria, he's going to start, because he's been on this diet for a long period of time, he's going to start developing bacteria in his gut that we as humans haven't had in there for, I don't know if ever, but basically the amount of meat he's eating, it can stay in your system. I want to say it's up to like, I want to say 120 hours, but I think that's wrong. But maybe not. 5 days. Yeah, I think that's about right. I think it's 120 hours, but it's an excessive amount of time for something to sit in your guts. And what that means is it's going to start allowing bacteria that wouldn't normally be able to develop in our guts to start growing there. So his gut flora and intestinal microbiome is going to be, I can't see it being healthy. I can see him getting some weird disease in a couple of years. Something really nasty happening to him. Because it's not a balanced way to be. And there's no scientific proof to say that him eating this way for extended periods of time is healthy. Not just good for you. I mean, that it's healthy, that it's a sustainable thing to be doing. Like I said, in the short term it works because it basically is an elimination diet, but then you need to reintroduce those fruits and veg to get the micronutrients in there and to help balance some of that microflora and to also help with roughage for digestion. And you need, obviously, the amount of red meat as well. Red meat is a slow thing to digest, which is why they say you should only really have red meat, 2-3 times a week. And he's having this thing multiple times a day. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to him over the next few years or whatever, whether he stays in the limelight, is that right? Or in the spotlight, whatever. And see if he does, because at the moment, the problem is when you take hormones, you buffer a lot of dietary errors with the hormones because you're unnaturally keeping the hormones in a range that's either higher or as they should be. Because if you're doing TRT, they should be within a natural range, but they're kept in a stable upper of that natural range. But if you're doing more, then you're going to superhuman, they're even higher. So it'd be interesting to see if he came off all the juice, all the growth and everything and kept eating the way he did, how fucked would his body get and how quickly? I would suggest that he would start having some serious problems with energy, focus, and if he isn't already using digestive enzymes and things like that with his food, which he might well be in because he's lied about numerous things already. And when they look at, when he does this, he did a breakdown, like a questionnaire, and you can go see this on the More Plates, More Dates video. There's a questionnaire that the guy who is doing all this steroids and stuff sends a questionnaire over to him to fill in, and you get to see every answer he filled in. And on one of them, he's listing things like maltodextrin and stuff like that he's using as part of his diet, which he doesn't say he uses now. And he lists a lot of things. He also lists that he's taking creatine. Now, why would you take creatine if you're eating pounds of red meat a day? Like, you would be well over your creatine need. So either this guy is excessive in every aspect of what he's doing and he's going to really come bad biologically quite soon anyway, or he's not telling us the full story on how he's eating. And we're only seeing like one. Are we even seeing finished meals when he posts them up? We never do. All we ever see is the thing being cooked. And then this is my lunch for today. We never see him like finishing it every time or anything like that. So who knows what he's really eating? How much of it is he really eating? How much of that meal is actually split between most of the other members of the family that are around him or people that are there? And how much of it is cooked off or what's added to it? We just don't know anymore. Did we really know ever? But this is the thing with social media, isn't it? Extremes. To get noticed, everything has to be extreme. Everything has to be something that's overly complicated so that it gets traction. Like doing the basics and doing them well isn't exciting, isn't extreme, so it doesn't get the attention it should. So all of these stupid ideas that come on like this, they just get all the attention, don't they? Because it's more interesting to watch than see somebody weigh their food out every day, eating a balanced protein, carb and fat diet and just slowly doing really well. And it's something to bear in mind when you're watching people. You know, if somebody inspires you, watch them for a year. Do they still inspire you by the end of the year? Have they made changes that you can see in their life? Have they helped you from what they're doing and you've taken it on, and not for just 3 weeks or 4 weeks, which again, like elimination diets, up to 8 weeks would still give you great results. But then after that, you start seeing diminishing returns. So if you follow something for over like 6 months, is it still helping? Then, you know, stick with it maybe. If it's healthy, if you're feeling great. But 8 weeks, 10 weeks of following something, that's just, it's too short. So I think, yes, let's get back to tangent, Lex. Good job. He's going to go on this podcast. He's going to start talking about the advocacy of how hormones can help benefit mental health, and alongside the 9 tenets, it can be a real booster to help you become superhuman. He's going to start talking about how he doesn't look like the normal guy because of his 9 tenets and the way he lives, plus the hormones. And then what he'll do is he'll go natty, but he won't. What he'll do is just reduce down to like full TRT level and then do a whole thing about how great he feels on that now and mentally and all that. I think he's going to spin it that way. I really do. But yeah, what a mess of a world we live in, where a dude with no shirt, who wears, like, literally doesn't wear a shirt anywhere that he goes, carries kettlebells and an ice bath into the middle of places like London and all these places. These are the people we put on pedestals until we're shown in black and white in big red marker all the reasons we shouldn't have done it, and then everyone's like, "Oh, I hate you now." Well, you know, you chose to follow the extreme, prepare for an extreme fail at the end of it. Don't blame him, blame you if you were let down by this guy. Everybody else who has sense and knows and did the research watched it for what it was. A cartoon character playing the game. And he played the game well. Very, very well. So let's see what his moves are next. But yep, that's my thoughts on it so far. Is it's a character. It's a cartoon. What he does isn't healthy. You can take aspects of some of the things he says, dial it down by like 10. And there's some things you can take there and add to your days that will make them better. And you've got to admire the guy's drive. Like, he is pure, probably bottled energy. It probably is out of a bottle, but still, nonetheless. It does go to show what you can achieve in a very short period of time as well if you want to become successful at something. Like, look what he's done. Set his mind to it. Gave it everything, literally. Put his body on the line for it. So it's admirable in that way, I guess. Also, it just shows you how gullible the world of socials is. If you just get the right bait on the hook. So yeah, that's that discussed. Let's move on. What else are we doing? So ice barreling. Let's do that. Let's talk about something the Liver King does see as primal, and we should do more. Yeah, literally what he did. He basically became Ryback from WWE. You remember him? Feed me more. Ryback, you need to sue the Liver King. He stole your thing. So I've done that. I did it. I stuck to the barrel. I stuck to the barrel thing. Whiskey barrel in the back garden, full of, the water was pretty much below 5 degrees the entire time. It got to around 4 or 3 on a couple of them. It's cold enough out there now as well. So at the moment it's really efficient because it's cold enough outside. It's like below 6 degrees most days. The water's staying very cold with minimal adjustments. I'm only having to change the water like once every 10 to 14 days as well. I think what I'm going to do is get a solar pump from Amazon to put on it so that the water doesn't stagnate, keep it moving. And then somebody did message me with a really cool suggestion of putting bottle sanitizer in it as well, baby bottle sanitizer. That can help keep the water nice. So a couple of cool tricks there. But how did it go? So I started on the first day aiming to do 2 minutes in this barrel of doom. And boy, it was a shocker. It took me so long to get in that barrel the first time. I walked in and out the house 10 times. 10 times. And it knocks the air out of you. It really does. I tell you now though, it's like getting punched. When you're in, it's not as bad as what you made it out in your mind to be. So if you want to do something like this, start with some cold showers. Start finishing every shower that you have with 30 seconds of just turning it down to the cold. Like turn it down for 10 seconds, turn it down again for 10, then turn it down again to the very bottom for 10. And just start like that. Then eventually you'll go straight to the bottom for 30, and then maybe you'll be able to do a minute. Other than that, like the next step, the cold showers are going to give you some benefit in terms of like a mental boundary breaker and making you do something tough, and finishing those warm, comfortable showers in the morning with something cold that spikes the adrenaline a little bit and gets you going. In terms of the benefits of the cold snap therapy, which is like immune function, it helps bolster immune function. It helps reduce inflammation, which is good. I don't know if you get that from the cold showers. I think you need immersion for that. I do think you need to immerse. So obviously the bath is the way to do that. But obviously waiting for the bath to fill up is a bit of a pain in the bum. So you can get some pretty simple purchase ones from Amazon now for like 60 quid or something if you want to give this a go. Foldable, carryable, take them around with your ice baths. They look decent enough. It's no different to the barrel. The barrel isn't anything special. It basically holds water and then you chuck some ice in alongside it. There's a tap on it, which makes it easy to use, but even the ones on Amazon have the taps. So that's easy. That's easy. And I would say, like, within the first week of doing this, a lot of my aches and pains have subsided. It really has made a difference. And I've done nothing else of difference. I haven't done any extra stretching. I don't do stretching at all. I don't do enough at all. You're supposed... So... Yes, that's what I've benefited from. The lack of that pain in the morning of waking up after training has definitely reduced. I was getting some lower back pain because during the night, apparently I try and sleep like a banana. That seemed to have ceased, and it did come back, but I'll tell you why in a second. And so with this challenge, I did it for YouTube. So the video is coming this week, I believe, hopefully. I should get it up either Wednesday or Sunday, depending on which videos I decide to show you first. I just had one go up about how to make your legs look bigger in 30 minutes. And it's basically a body grooming one, but it's a lot of fun. And if you haven't ever tried it, I highly advise you watch the video and try what I say. It does make a massive difference, especially mentally. Give you a bit of an ego boost for those get those chicken drumsticks working. But I started with 2 minutes with the idea of going up a minute every day. So I was in there for 2 minutes. I was talking to the camera, which actually I think really helped because it gave me something once I was able to breathe to focus on talking to. I talk you through how I'm feeling through it all. And I got to 2 minutes and I was all right. So I did an extra minute. I actually started with 3 minutes on the first day and then incremented up. And on the last day, for some reasons, should I talk about those now? I think I will talk about that now. I will talk about it. So during the time I was doing these, if you are unaware, we've been raising some money for a young boy, Arthur, 2 years old, who had leukemia. And went to see him during that week of doing the ice baths. Went to see him on the Saturday and the Sunday. And unfortunately, because he moved to the hospice, which basically means the treatments, he beat leukemia, it came back 3 weeks later, the secondary treatment was done, aggressive chemotherapy, it hadn't worked. So unfortunately, it was a terminal case. And the sad fact is that Arthur had a very rare form of the leukemia as well. So he had Down syndrome, which Down syndrome children are more susceptible to leukemia, but they also have a high rate of survival. They respond very well to treatments. Unfortunately, Arthur did not have the normal leukemia that they get. He had a rare version. And he beat it. or so they thought. The bloods came back clear, but I think they beat it down so low that it just came back undetectable. And then within 3 weeks, it was back and it was aggressive and it spread to his lymph nodes. And so he was in the hospice when we went to see him, and it's hard. It was hard because you're seeing this little happy fella who had so much love for his parents, and the bond between him and his father was just, it was a beautiful thing, and you knew it was going to be taken away. And there's nothing anyone can do about it, like nothing. And you just feel helpless. Like it's at these moments that you wish superpowers existed. You know, even if it meant giving some of your life force away to help, you'd do it. And I played with him in the ball pit in this hospice. Was amazing. Like the people there, they were like, if you took everyone's lovely feeder grandma and wrapped them into a person and multiplied it by 10 people, that was each and every one of the nurses in this place. They were lovely, and it had everything that you needed there. And it was in these beautiful grounds of this huge house, and it was like a converted mansion or something. Not mansion, is that the wrong word? It's a converted estate, where it was. So there was like a stream running through. It was just green fields and woods all around. So, thankful that we have that in this country for people in those situations, so they're not stuck in a hospital room. But since then, sadly, Arthur has passed away. So he, 4 days, I think it was 3 or 4 days after we were there. So, it's tough, because I have videos on my phone of playing with him in a ball pit, and he's, smiling and giving you ooh and ah and high fives and all of this stuff. But at the same time, when we were there, he did have moments of real drowsiness when he had to be given morphine and things like that, and you would see the reality of it. And he had a feeding tube going up through his nose that he pulled out the night before and had to have put back in. And you could just we had such a lovely time, and I feel I was able to impart some energy. And when we were there as well, I tried as much as possible to not do anything but bring some normalcy to the situation and just play and talk about normal things as best as possible. And I think that helped the energy in the room as a whole. And but some of we raised through you guys and Facebook and all of these, we raised £17,000 so far, and that originally started to help pay for his treatment and then a trip for when he got better. Now it's gone forward to help pay for the parents' mortgage for the house, because they had to stop working so that they could stop working, so that they had some security to be able to spend every moment with Arthur. And that is exactly what that money has gone towards. And it is and ever grateful for any and all of you who helped with that, because you really helped in a very tough situation find what little good there was and let them have it, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that's where social media and things like this is great and is fantastic and does have true reach and true power. So now, the fundraiser is now totally going towards, it is going towards paying for a funeral for Arthur, and to take that burden off, as well as people know funerals are not cheap. And so again, people have been amazing. After, I think it was announced a day or two ago that he passed on publicly on socials, and people have been amazing in giving towards the funeral costs still. So people have been giving throughout, from trying to help him, to help the parents, to now being part of saying goodbye as beautiful as it could be, I suppose. And this is their parents' first child as well. So you guys have done some amazing stuff helping there. Amazing. And it'll be a tough day, but at least it'll be a day they want for him. So, yeah, it was tough. But what it did was put the perspective of me getting in this silly little whiskey barrel full of cold water. When I came back, you'll see it in the video, the difference between me getting in that water the day before seeing Arthur and then getting in afterwards is a different mindset. Like, I don't even question it when we get back, because it's so pathetic. It's so pathetic and easy to do in comparison to this young lad fighting for his life and the parents and the toughness and things they're going through. Like, what the hell? I'm getting a barrel of cold water. And you're going to whine about it? You're going to moan and act like it's some kind of earth-shattering conquest? Like, get on with it, boy. So that's what I did, and hopefully, so I'm going to discuss, all this goes into the video. It's all going to go into the video in a way that hopefully will leave you guys empowered to be able to realize that you can, these tough moments, these tough things that you think you can't do or that you want to try and do but question every time you're doing it, it's all in your head. And all you need is perspective. And that's the truth for most things. All you need is a perspective. Step back. How difficult is it really? Or are you just so focused and so tunnel visioned that you've lost that perspective and you're only seeing it against it, so that it grows in its enormity, when in reality, there's many harder things that you could be going through. There's many more difficult situations. So get the fuck on with it and control the ones that you can, and get stuck into that discomfort and start to own it. Because this is what it is. It's not so much, yes, you do get the anti-inflammatory effects, and yes, you do get the benefit of immune system. There are immune system bolstering is what I want to say. But what it does is it helps fight against disease. It helps make your immune system less likely to, so it helps fight against autoimmune diseases in the long run, because what it does is the cold therapy helps kind of hold your immune system back from us being in the comfort zone of always being in the warm, always being comfortable. Your immune system starts to get a little bit overactive when there's minor intrusions, and what that can lead to is zombie cells and things like that hanging around the body, which cause bad interactions within our normal day-to-day running, and anything basically, the way your body reacts in all its chemical reactions, if anything interferes with the normal reactions and causes unwanted outcomes, they're the things that can then proliferate into problems. So it helps by reducing our body beginning to fight itself, those autoimmune diseases. It helps that. It helps also, it creates, now let me think, I can't think of the goddamn term, but it basically helps the release. You basically get a lot of cleanup proteins that occur when you do a lot of shock therapy, especially with heat shock from saunas. You get this, I think they're called the heat snap release proteins, or heat release proteins anyway is the general term for them. And they literally go around mopping up dead cells and zombie cells and all these horrible things that sit around the body. This is the most basic terminology to be using for it, by the way. It's way deeper than this. But, just in a cartoonized way, it basically causes your body to have a positive reaction from what is seemingly a negative thing. And in the long term, it is going to benefit you in terms of inflammation, immune strengthening, mental strengthening as well. That's the big thing. So outside of all these physical benefits that we get, it's mainly that you are choosing to do something hard, but you're choosing to sit in that discomfort because you know the benefits it's going to give you long term. So you sit and enjoy the discomfort because you know the benefits that it's going to give you. Does that make sense? So it's learning that not all discomfort is a bad thing. And then once you're able to control that discomfort, whenever you're given a bad situation or something hits you out of the blue, every day you've been doing something that's put you in discomfort. So this new thing that comes that you weren't prepared for, weren't ready for, wham, when that hits you, it's just another discomfort that you're used to dealing with, rather than there being this soft, namby-pamby human who never puts themselves in any kind of discomfort, always sits within their boundaries, always stays in the safe zone. And then when something bad happens, doesn't know how to deal with it, because all of those feelings and all of that anxiety and all of that stress that then you're not used to feeling suddenly materializes and can be overwhelming. So by putting yourself into these situations in a controlled manner and you overcoming them, because it's still tough, you still have to be in a situation where it is tough. Like I said, it took me 10 times to get in it the first time. But slowly but surely, it took me less and less time. First off, what would happen is I would just put the timer on 15 seconds. So I'd put say I had 4 minutes to do. I'd put 4 minutes, 15 seconds. And as it started counting down, I would get myself ready in that 15 seconds. Today, when I went in, I put on my 5 minutes and 5 seconds. And the only reason I put the 5 seconds in was so that as soon as I started the timer, I had time to get in so that I did my full 5 minutes. Not because I needed any kind of countdown. just so that I definitely got my 5 minutes. I didn't want to press 5 minutes and then part of that 5 minutes me getting in the barrel. So, and I didn't want to do it again today. I didn't want to do it. Like, that's the point though. Like, your initial reaction is don't want to, but your follow-up reaction is, but you do it anyway. And that's the strength. That's where we start to win. That's where we start to see progression, because you'll start doing more shit that you don't want to do, but you have to do. So that's the most I've taken from it so far. We'll see how much more it benefits me and how different it gets over time. But I said my lower back pain came back, didn't I? So after doing the 7 days, I got up to, I won't say how long I got up to in it because I'll let you watch the video for that, but I got up to a decent amount of time in there, but longer than I need to spend in there if I'm doing this regularly. So regularly, you only need to do 4 to 5 days a week, 5 minutes to get the physiological, biological benefits of doing the cold therapy work. So this week, I did my not this week, last week just gone, I did 5 days. I took 2 days off. Have I done my 5 days? Either way, I'd done all that. I'd done the videoing. So then I took 2 days off. And then in those 2 days, I started to feel the aches again. By this morning, before I went back in, I think that's what I did, yeah. So I did 7 days straight. I actually did 8 days straight. Because I did one just for me where I didn't have to set up a camera and do everything and just enjoyed the moment of getting in it. And only having to do 5 minutes as well, because I knew it would be easy compared to the day before when I'd done way longer. So I did a couple more days and then I took 2 days off because I was like, okay, maybe I'm doing too much. And then I'll get to my 5 days, 5 minutes. And those 2 days off, the ache started to come back. So one, that lets you know that this does need to be a long-term commitment. So the benefits that I'm seeing at the moment are short-term because it's an instant, it's an acute reaction to what I'm doing. But over time, the buildup of that should be more long-term as I keep on top of doing it. It's just like massage. You get massaged out, you feel great, you go and carry on with your normal time. But if you don't go get massaged again, whatever is tightened up is going to tighten up again and come back eventually. Or something else will tighten up if you fixed what was originally tight, because it's just the nature of you getting on and doing stuff is that you have to have the other side of it where you do the repair work. So what it showed me was, okay, this is something I have to maintain on a regular basis to see the benefits at this point. But 2, also it showed me, oh, wow, that really did actually take an effect, because that's the only thing that's changed. That's the only thing I'd stopped. Everything else stayed the same. So that ache and tweak and like that achiness in the morning that came back, it was 100% because I wasn't in doing the cold therapy again. So there is definitely an immediate effect you're going to feel from doing it, which is great. So if you do want to start doing this, I would say after your first week, you will feel different. And I do think I slept better. I do think I slept better as well. So bearing in mind, alongside this, what I started doing was fasting till 12 o'clock again, which is something I've done for a long time anyway, but I had kind of slipped out of it for whatever reason. So back to not eating before 12, well, before kind of after 5 hours of getting up. So, but mainly it's like midday. And then also no caffeine. 90 minutes, minimum of 90 minutes after waking up, but I'll usually wait longer than that. I'll usually wait until the midday when I start to eat food again. I'll probably have a coffee first and then have food. So that's how I tend to break the fast. But you can have black coffees if you want to do that. But I don't. I like my cream, so I tend to break my fast with my coffee. As well as supplementing as well. So I've got back on. So obviously, I had all the Black Friday and Cyber sales, and I was putting out to you guys to get on those, because I know it's like a pain in the ass when Black Friday comes around, because everyone's like, oh, look at all the sales and everything going on. Me, buy my stuff, use my code. But it legitimately is the cheapest time you'll buy something from a company, because I know, especially in like the motorbike world, Black Friday deals, they'll only put things in sale on that one day of the year. And a similar thing goes for supplements. They always do the biggest sale of the year on the Black Fridays, so it's always the biggest discount. So it is, as annoying as it is, worthwhile buying in those to stock up on stuff. And one of the things I did put out there for you guys to stock up on was your vitamins, because multivits don't cut the mustard. And so I did the same thing and resorted all the vits that I'm taking. And so I'll give you a quick rundown of some of the new ones I added. I've added Cissus in. which my protein. So obviously, if you want to,
Part of my protein using code Lex Fitness. Please use my code, it helps benefit me too. You guys who are all using it are legends. Yay!
I don't know what that voice is. Yeah, so but you can use Lex Fitness on myprotein.com and it will beat any offer that they have on the site. I've made sure of that. I've been in contact with their tech guys. So it should always give you a greater percentage off or a better bonus. Either way, Lex Fitness will get you the best deal. And if it doesn't, right, call me or message me. You can't call me. So message me. I'll sort it out. Right? Sorted. So yeah, some of the things to add to your daily dosages. Cissus quadrangularis. This is a product that disappeared for a while, and it was amazing. It's so good. It used to be mixed with a product called Bromo 6. So it was made by someone called Generic Labs or someone like that. Anyway, it was brilliant for helping because it was it still is. Cissus quadrangularis is really good for ligament and tendon repair and obviously prevention. So it helps there, especially with inflammation. It was mixed with 6-bromo originally, which is an anti-estrogen, so it also used to help, bring estrogen down a bit, which would always like pull a bit of water off you and make you look a bit nicer. But 6-bromo got banned because it shouldn't have been. It's such a mild thing, but they banned it because they wanted to tax it. So they put it into that bracket of Hawthorne. They did it alongside Hawthorne Berry and loads of other nonsense where they wanted to charge a £50,000, license for people to sell them. Just assholes, man. It's basically health tax. And so people just stopped selling them because there's no way they're going to make the money back from these products. So Hawthorne berry and things like that, which was great for people who were reducing the risk of prostate cancer, bringing down high blood pressure. So basically they screwed loads of old people that were using this stuff. For what? Unbelievable. Anyway, so Cissus quadrangularis is on with my protein now. And so I've added that in. Obviously the standards like your vitamin D3, your vitamin C, your vitamin E, all things, your zinc, and your iron and folic acid. They're all basics you should be getting in there, especially if you're training, especially if you train on a regular basis. But also, alongside this, I put in some biotin, so that's for hair and nails. And then also retinol, which is great for your skin. Really good for keeping that youthful appearance. And I got some apple cider gummies, which are just a good thing. Like apple cider vinegar isn't magic or anything like that, but I do feel it helps with like gut health. And there is the suggestion that it can help reduce like the onset of things like if you have gout and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's clinically proven. But it's to do with the urea crystals or something building up in your blood. I think it can help combat that in a certain way, but I don't know the science behind it. If you want me to look it up, I can do, but you can just Google it. But I definitely, apple cider vinegar does have some, it's a useful thing to have in there in terms of gut health and stuff like that. And these chewable gummies are delicious. So it's like having sweeties. It's a little bit of a treat. And that's pretty much it. But those couple of additions, especially that Cissus quadrangularis, is going to be really interesting. I think that was all it was, the ones I added. I got zinc on its own, which is a good one because, again, it tends to be one that we can become deficient in, and iron and folic acid as well alongside. That's a really good combo. But just stay away from the multivits, people. They don't cut it. They don't cut the mustard. Also, I've been living off corned beef a lot recently because apparently I'm ready for being a World War II soldier. I don't know why. I've had just honestly, cheese, corned beef, sometimes in white bread. Oh, mate. Put a bit of Branston pickle on there. Heaven. Love it. I'm so simple. Honestly, I'm so simple. I was in a discussion the other day. People get freaked. Like, people every day worry about what they're going to eat. Like, oh, God, what should we have for tea? What should we have for dinner? What should this and that? I'm like, I would eat the same thing every day happily. Like, if I like a meal, I'll eat it 5 times if it's there and easy to make. Like if I batch cook something and I can't bother doing anything else, I'll eat that batch cook one after the other. I don't see the problem with it. But people freak out like they can't eat the same thing 2 days running or 3 days running. I would eat the same thing when I was dieting. I'd eat the same thing for 12 weeks running and I didn't get sick of it. So I feel sorry for anyone that just feels like, don't feel like you have to have something different every day. As long as you're balanced micronutrient and macronutriently in what you're eating, just like, don't freak out. Just eat what's easy on that day for you to have that's going to fit your goals. I just don't see the need for this added stress of worrying about what you're going to eat later that day. If you've got food in, you know it's in, just make something simple. It doesn't matter. Make 4 or 5 meals of it in one go and just whack it in the fridge. Batch cook. It's just, and then just woosah. Woosah. I think that's where we're at today. I think that's enough, isn't it? Is that enough for today? Have I done well on my own? Hopefully I've done well on my own. Hopefully this wasn't too... you could see where my brain just suddenly cuts off mid-sentence in my own head. There's something there where I just say words and there's not even a sentence forming behind them. But yeah, welcome to my brain. I'm now going to go and edit the barrel video. I also have a new motorbike, maybe, and it's a classic, kind of. It's got heritage. And it's a beast, and we may or may not have done some self-improvements to it. So I've got that video to come as well. So you'll get a bike reveal plus an upgrade to that bike reveal. So you've got barrel video, upgrade, the new motorbike video reveal coming in the middle of winter, which is obviously the perfect time to buy a new motorbike. It's actually the best time to buy a motorbike, just not the best time to ride it. And what other video have you got coming? Oh, and we just filmed literally last night a new worst pain video where Mitch helped, he removed my back hump. So you know how we're all a bit like getting a bit stuck in our social media, faces down, heads down, computer down, everything down. We went through the technique of how you can straighten your spine and get rid of any neck humps. Also, we show you the problems that if you don't, how this can become a very serious issue and you can end up with something called buffalo neck or buffalo hump. One of the two. It's not a good thing. You don't want it. So be proactive with this. So you got a lot of new videos coming up, and then we have the conversation bomb, and that is going to be coming this next couple of weeks. Just working out how to go about it because it's a big one. Other than that, I hope you are all having a wonderful December. Happy freaking Christmas time, people. I hope you've got some adequately suitable jumpers ready and t-shirts and Christmas festivities. I hope your lights are up. If they're not, get in the goddamn spirit and get some lights up. There's nothing better than when it gets dark at 4 p.m., which sucks, than seeing Christmas lights fill that darkness. It's lovely. So make your Christmas decorations priority if you haven't done it already. As long as there's nothing super important going on in your life, obviously. But get them up. Be festive. Be happy. Start getting in the mood. Because Christmas is a lovely time. It can bring everyone. It's a time where you can choose to bring people together. And it's a great excuse to rebuild some bridges that maybe have been left to go a bit rotten. You can rebuild them. And all you need is an excuse of, oh, what are you doing on Boxing Day? Oh, what are you doing around this day? Oh, let's go for a drink. Oh, pop round for some food. It's the time you can reach out easily. And it gives those people no excuse to not come. To make use of it. It's a happy time, people. It's a happy, happy time. And other than that, I hope you've had a great week. If you want to start jumping in barrels that smell like whiskey full of cold water, I highly recommend it. And I'm going to keep doing it. So we'll see how we go. What else? Anything else? Is that before we go? I think that is everything for now. If not, you'll see us back next Monday anyway. And the battery's about to die on the camera, so it's perfect timing. So I hope you've had a great week. Leave behind what was bad in the week that's gone. Bring forward what was good. And let's make it a great bloody week. I'll catch you in the next one. Toodle pip.